I think it's about time we take another look at this game. It's been about 10 years. No, it hasn't, but 10 years ago, I started my first solo Let's Play, my first commentary. It was a departure from what I've done before, a group thing with a friend of mine named Evan, on a game also near and dear to my heart. Although this was different. I set out on my own, trying to share my knowledge of a game that I thought I might be better at than I really was. I would soon find out that I didn't know as much as I thought. But I tried my best to show some tips, share some love, and this project took me several years to complete. I voiced every line, every chapter, and that started to be a point of contention with my perfectionism. Each time I had to do better and better, but I should have just been playing to have fun. And so, here we are many years later. 10 years have passed since those dark days ended. My name is Gibson, and welcome to Fire Emblem. Fire Emblem 7, the Blazing Sword, the Blazing Blade, Binding... No, that's the other one. My favorite game of all times came out 20 years ago. 21 years ago? 2024 is just around the corner. When this video goes up, it's going to be 2024. To my Rausten fans, welcome. This is a daily project, or not daily, but like a series. This is going to be a video on Half Step someday, hopefully, about my favorite game of all time, being 20 years old. I don't really know how to quantify how I feel about this. I mean, it's just kind of like a thing. I know this game is old. I know that I played it around 20 years ago. I can't exactly pinpoint when. And I'm not sure. I guess I could do a quick Google search here and say, when did Fire Emblem 7 come out in the US? You know, and then I could kind of ballpark it, right? Because I don't really know my life without this game in it. Okay, North America 2003. So it was 2003. I very well could have had this game in my life for 20 years now. I feel like I briefly remember being at Walmart picking this game out, but the thing is, I'm not sure what drew me to it, because the cover of the game isn't something I would think like 6 or 7-year-old me would be into. It's like a couple of characters with some swords. Maybe that's a little bit more mature to what I would have been looking for at that age. I don't know, but regardless, I ended up taking it home in Sacred Stones not long after, and this quickly became one of my favorite games ever. If you're a Fire Emblem fan and you know this game, then this will be, maybe a little bit redundant here and there, but to you guys, I say Chapter 19 I thought was the finale of the game, and I could not beat it. It felt like the last chapter, because maybe in the story it was gearing up to be that way, and feeling like, Lord Darren, he's the most evil guy we know of right now. We don't really know much else, and obviously at that age, I'm not reading all the dialogue. It's funny, when I went to do these Let's Plays, I started to feel like I knew the game a lot better, because I'm actually reading every word of dialogue, and like getting to know the characters and supports better. So it's pretty kind of a embarrassing thing, but also that's one of the benefits I got out of recording these games, is being older and kind of forcing myself to see the story and how it's actually being played out, instead of having a loose idea and skipping the dialogue almost every time, right? So for today's sake, we're just gonna go right into it, and we'll explain things as it gets brought up. But I think the gist of it is, for this project, I'm gonna go through it somewhat casually. This is meant to be a showcase of my favorite game, not a challenge run. I'm thinking maybe I can do that again in the future. And again, to my Rausten fans, my Rausten viewers, in the now, Underrun Saga isn't going anywhere. Obviously, I want to finish that. Hopefully, this will be a smaller time sink that I can get into while I figure out the rest of my content, as I've kind of been talking about over the last few months. But without much further ado, I think we're just going to get right into it. We are going to play hard mode for Lynn. And if you aren't familiar, once you beat the game a few times, you kind of have a choice on what story to play and what difficulty. And Lynn's mode sort of serves as a general tutorial through Fire Emblem and really how it works. And the main game kind of starts at chapter 11, although there is some story bits in Lynn's mode, which are sort of kind of important. Actually, not really. So I like to play Lynn's mode, get the full picture of it, probably just because that's how I grew up playing it. And your stats and levels and everything do carry over. So I do like having that bit of continuity there. So if you really like someone in Lynn's mode, you can continue to use them later. And I just find that, you know, fun. And I'm just going to do December because that's what month it is. I don't really know. I can't remember if that actually does something. It probably changes your affinity, or maybe it doesn't. I'm not sure, but we're just gonna call myself Jibston. I usually like to oh, Jibston doesn't fit. So I usually like to have a funnier name, quirkier name for these, but I feel like if I'm doing half-step videos, I want to like sort of acknowledge my identity a little more. Prologue, a girl from the plains. Are you awake? Ah, yes. So this is going to be a bit of a nostalgia trip for me, and that's just going to be part of the experience, and I hope that at least some of you can kind of go along with that with me. And for me, it has been quite a while since I played this game last and really kind of soaked it in. I feel like it's kind of important for you to have that every once in a while. I know there's like a TV show that I hold pretty close and dear to my heart called How I Met Your Mother. And for me, that's always kind of been like a, you know, that pacifier type feeling. Like you just throw that on if you're feeling a certain way or if you're down or whatever. And it's just kind of that extra comfort, nostalgic little taste that you might need at certain times. You know, everyone's going to be a little different. I'm sure Friends and like stuff like The Office is a big one for a lot of people. Just that kind of comforting, familiar thing. And this is one of those kinds of things for me. And so the soundtrack to this game and a lot of the visual stuff, early game is that for me and some of the characters. I'm Lynn of the Lorca tribe. You're safe now. Who are you? Can you remember your name? Your name is Jib? What an odd-sounding name. But pay me no mind. It is a good name. I see by your attire that you are a traveler. What brings you to the Sakai Plains? Would you share your story with me? What was that noise? I'll go see what's happening. Jib, wait here for me. I probably should have picked a better name than Jib, because they do refer to you a lot in this game, at least in the early game. Oh no, bandits! They must have come down from the Burn Mountains. They must be planning on raiding the local villages. I have to stop them. If that's all of them, I think I can handle them on my own. You'll be safe in here, Jib. What? You want me to help? Or do you want to help? Well, can you use a weapon? Ah, I see. So you're a strategist by trade. Not profession, but very well. We'll go together. Over here. If you want to help, Jib, I could use your advice. I'll protect you, so stay close to me. Alright, and straight in, something I should have mentioned a little earlier before we got into it is this is the first North American released Fire Emblem. And I think Lynn mode really sums it up for us noob Westerners over here. Getting the first entry into the franchise, like, it really kind of holds your hand through it, at least for a good chunk of Lynn's mode. And even, like, to the end, kind of showing you all the little different things you can do. And then it just kind of throws you off into your own. But, you know, there are certain games that are a little bit more challenging and a little less self-explanatory than this, and I think this is a very good first entry to someone who's looking to get into the franchise. Obviously, it's it's a bit dated at this point, but if you don't mind that, I'd much prefer the GBA Fire Emblem games. I I guess I'm not sure if I should say prefer, but it's definitely where I'm most comfortable at. When you start adding skills and reclassing and all these things that are more complicated, it just doesn't really speak to me as much, and as well as like the more anime kind of style or dramatic maybe kind of setting or whatever. This kind of style and like Three Houses is more similar to it as well, just like kind of darker and grittier, if you will, rather than anime and kind of, I don't want to say cringe, I don't really like saying that, but you know, that's what speaks more to me than this. And maybe let's do, I always really play with the default color. I'm scared to change it up, I really am, but let's try it. Let's try some green. I feel like, oh, that's weird. That's so weird. I literally never change it. I'm gonna do purple. So hard mode doesn't give you any hand holding, and you can really die at any time in this. It's not a scripted battle like it is normally. So basically the rule of thumb is don't attack first, because you can get hit twice in a row essentially, and have a game over in the prologue. And so I should explain a little bit of this as I'm going. This is Lynn. These are, you know, this is her inventory. She's got a sword and some healing items, and the stats are strength, skill, speed, luck, defense, resistance. Kind of self-explanatory, most of it. Resistance is magical defense, basically. Speed affects your evasion and attacks. Look at that, doing my job for me. Skill pretty much affects hit rate and critical hit rate, and strength is obviously how powerful you are. You got 5 movement. Movement's pretty much similar across the board. Different classes have different movement. Constitution is affects rescues and the weight of the weapon here, so you can kind of see the weapon stats. And the weight on the far right there is a 5 weight for the iron sword and 5 con, so it's perfect. A perfect match for Lynn. She doesn't lose any speed. If the weight is higher than her con, it takes the difference out of her speed. So if we had like a steel sword that weighs 8, 8 minus 3, basically, you're left, or minus 5 is 3, so it'd take 3 off of her speed, going down to 6, which I believe it is 4 speed over your enemy is doubling attack speed. So you basically have to do the same calculation here. Obviously, he's only got 2 speed, so we're doubling him. It's either 4 or 5, I forget which. It's kind of different in every game, but that's just the basic gist of it, I guess. We got HP here. Also pretty self-explanatory, and your level and experience. And this is your class. Everyone's got a different class. There's, you know, just several classes in the game. And I guess that's really it for the basics here. Aid is has to do with your rescuing. So if she's trying to rescue somebody, which you basically can rescue nobody, you want to look at her aid stat, and certain characters will have a higher aid stat. I think it also sort of depends on con generally, but if they're mounted units like a horse or Pegasus, that's higher. And then affinity is one of those things that I never really got into. If you have a affinity, certain affinities match up with others and kind of give certain bonuses. Again, like, I honestly don't know much about it, but you can get like little tiny bonuses that you can't really see with certain affinities. So depending on what my character that I built, that character customization kind of can affect how certain units are in your game. So I don't really understand it, never got bothered to really get into it, because it's I think it's just a very small difference. So we only have 1 unit, so the player phase just ends automatically, and so we can go right up to the boss guy. And this is our forecast, and this is damage basically. Hit rate on either side, we're obviously blue, and a crit, 1 out of 100 chance to crit. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So basically he's got a 40% chance to hit me for 10, and I double him 5 times 2. and it will go in like a turn-based thing. If I attack first, then I go first, he goes, and then I attack again if I can. And so again, like I said, you want to wait because that 40% can definitely hit you twice. Who do you think you are? You think you can stand up to Battle the Beast? I think pretty much from here on out, we're going to make this, assuming it's not, you know, straight up noobs watching this. I'm sure it isn't, so. I wasn't thinking and definitely did not mean to do this, but it works out because he misses. So that's probably all the explanation we're going to be given. Hardcore tutorial stuff for straight up beginners. But I feel like it's necessary to put in there at some point, and we probably won't come back to it much. What? How did you? We're gonna get a level up here, and you can kind of see how her first level is gonna be. And that's pretty much a pretty Lyn level up. Defense is rare for her, and so that's not a bad level at all. Each character has different growth rates, so Lyn happens to be built very like skill speed heavy, and so anytime you get strength or defense or resistance, even that's a good that's a good level up for Lyn. And I skipped the dialogue, so great job. Good morning, Jib. Are you awake yet? That fight yesterday must have taken a lot out of you. Say, Jib, I want to talk to you about something. Text skipping, I'm loving it. Would you allow me to travel with you? What, you want me to get permission from my parents? My mother and father died 6 months ago. My people, the Lorca, they don't... I'm the last of my tribe. Bandits attacked and they killed so many people. The tribe was scattered. My father was our chieftain, and I wanted to protect our people. But I'm so young, and our people are old-fashioned. They wouldn't follow a woman. No one would follow me. I'm sorry. I've been alone for so long. No, no more. I will shed no more tears. Thank you. I'm better now. Jib, I must become stronger, so that I may avenge my father's death. Yesterday's battle taught me something. I won't become stronger by sitting here alone. Jib, tell me you'll train me. I want to... Gosh, I keep skipping the text. That's wonderful. Thank you. Oh, thank you. We'll be better off working together, I know it. You'll be my master strategist, and I'll be your peerless warrior. We can do it, right? Alright, and that's chapter... Prologue. The Prologue. A Girl of the Plains. We're going to head right into chapter 1 on this first episode. The apprentice tactician Jib and the young sword fighter Lyn. A strange pair on even stranger journey. To prepare for the long road ahead, they go to Bulgar, the commercial center of Sakai. Unbeknownst to Lyn, she will discover something that will alter her life forever. Chapter 1. Footsteps of Fate. Jib, over here. This is Bulgar, the biggest city in all of Sake. We should purchase supplies for our journey. Oh, my heart, what a dazzling vision of loveliness. Wait, oh beauteous one, would you not favor me with your name, or better yet, your company? Where are you from, Sir Knight, that you speak so freely to a stranger? Ha! I thought you'd never ask. I am from Lycia. I hail from the Kalen Canton, home to men of passion and fire. Shouldn't that be home to callow oafs with loose tongues? Ooh, you're even lovely when you're cruel. Let's go, Chip. I have nothing more to say. Wait, please. Sane, hold your tongue. Ah, Kent, my boon companion. Why so severe an expression? If your manner were more serious, I wouldn't have to be so severe. You still have a mission to complete, Sane. I know that, but how could I remain silent in the presence of such beauty? I would have been discourteous. Discourteous? What do you know of courtesy? Excuse me, you're blocking the road. if you would be so kind as to move your horses. Of course, my apologies. Thank you. You at least seem honorable enough. Pardon me, but I feel like we've met before. I beg your pardon? Hey, no fair, Kent. I saw her first. It seems there are no decent men among Lycia's knights. Let's go, Jib. I've run out of patience. Wait, please. It's not like that. Sane, you lout. Huh? Not like that. What? I thought you were... I am not you. Come, we must follow her. I suspect she might be... Be what? She's our mission? You're joking. Wait. Run. We're being pursued. Could it be those knights from town? No, it's not them. These men are out for blood. Aren't you the pretty one? Your name is Lindis, is it not? What did you call me? Who are you? Such a waste. An absolute waste. The things I'll do for gold. Ah, well. Time to die, darling. Come on out, boys. Oh, no. There are more than I can handle. But I'll not give up. Hey, there she is. What? Whew, finally caught up. Hold, you there. What is your business? Such numbers against a girl? Cowards, every one of you. You're from... We can discuss that later. It appears these ruffians mean to do you harm. If it's a fight they want, let them look to me. Stand back, I'll take care of this. No, this is my fight. Stay out of my way. Well, I can't just stand here and do nothing. I have a solution. You there, command us. I am Kent, a knight of Lycia. My companion is Sane. We will follow your orders in this battle. Is this acceptable, my lady? Yes, it is. Jib and I will lead. Let's go! Alrighty, we're straight into chapter 1. Man, that is a nostalgic chapter right there. Just like... Oh, I can't really put into words like the magic of reading off the chapter, it fading to black, or fading into the black, and all of a sudden the music starts and the cutscene starts. It's like, I don't know, there's something about that, probably because I've been doing this off and on for 10 years. I say off and on, but I've only really done like 3 Fire Emblem LPs or 4. I don't know. It's the theatrical in me that it just is. It's satisfying, and in this chapter cutscene in particular, it's just a good one. It's nostalgic for sure. So we're gonna go over our characters, our new units here. We've got Kent. Nostalgically, like, that's not a word, I bet, but one of my favorite characters in Fire Emblem of all time. Like, just because these 3 were the first I knew for so long, and they were just like, I don't know. It's a bit weird. It is, but there are 2 cavaliers, horseback units. They use sword and lances, and this is kind of something I didn't go over earlier, but every weapon has a different weapon ranking that it is required to be used, and iron weapons are E rank, so basically anybody who can use them, can use that weapon, can use them. And then it goes up from E up to A, or S actually. And more powerful weapons have a higher weapon level rank. So yeah, I guess we'll see that in action as we get stronger weapons. But the weapon triangle. I said I'd stop explaining some basics, but basically it's a rock, paper, scissors type mechanic, and changes the way you play here. So swords better against axes. Axes are better against lances. Lances are better against swords. And there it is. There are some weapons that kind of reverse that, but it's a bit niche. And I kind of want to use both of them, honestly. It's a dumb idea, but the nostalgia is kind of speaking to me right now. Kent is just traditionally a little bit more faster and maybe more well-rounded, where Sane has got like a bunch more strength, and that's his thing. And so if you can get a Sane with good speed, then you'll have a pretty good unit. But if Kent can easily shit the bed and not get not get enough strength to be useful, or just not even get enough speed to be useful. So I don't know. I typically go with Sane just because he tends to grow a bit faster, in a more meaningful way, that is, because this game isn't really that hard, so the enemies towards the mid-late game are kind of slow, so it really doesn't matter as much for Sane to get more speed than it does for Kent to get more strength. I guess, more or less. Again, really anybody's viable. It's just like, you know, it's your preference. And this game kind of prefers heavy quantity over quality in enemies, so the more you can get through in one turn, basically, the better. Insane seems to be the crowd favorite, so part of me wants to go with Kent just to be a little bit annoying. But again, I don't know. And in easy mode, or hard mode or whatever, there's this whole scene where Sane attacks with a lance and misses because he's ignoring a weapon triangle. And Kent has an extra sword that he bought that's hidden from his inventory in-game, of course, and he gives it to Sane. Then that doesn't happen in hard mode, so you just don't get a sword for Sane, which is kind of annoying, but it is hard mode after all, so no free handouts, right? And that also kind of goes with the story of them, or the narrative of them being, you know, Sane's good with lances, Kent is better in swords with like the weapon rank there. And that kind of comes out to another advantage for Sane, I feel like, because after the first couple chapters, most of your enemies are brigands, so they're axe wielding. And by the time you're kind of getting to more enemy variety, Sane's already like D rank on both axes and lances, or maybe even C in swords. And Kent is basically like C in swords and E in lances, so he can't even really use a steel lance or something a little bit later. Part of me is I'm flip-flopping on what I want to do here, so I think maybe we'll just kind of use both of them and see which one's better at the end. Sounds like a plan to me. And did Kent get this level up? He did. Did he get strength? I think he got strength, and I don't remember. Roll it back. I wasn't paying attention. Another thing I love about GBA Fire Emblem is the visuals. Again, that's a preference thing, but I feel like it's kind of unanimous that people prefer the 2D stuff. And see, an advantage to having Kent is he's doubling already, whereas Sane is not going to be doing that. So his damage output is technically higher, even though his strength is lower. And Lynn could use some level ups because she is quite weak, actually. But maybe we'll just kind of do this. Accursed knights, always tampering in others' affairs. I forgot the voice I gave him. And now this way we should be all balanced out at like level 2. Assuming we can kill him here. Blast. There was only supposed to be a lone girl. Alright, and we'll see what Sane's level up is like. Very poor, I see. But that's Fire Emblem, you know, you get screwed over sometimes. That's the last of them. Fantastic work. Alright. And now for these Knights of Lycia. You're going to share your story with me? Yes. We have ventured from Kalen in Lycia in search of someone. Lycia, that's the country beyond the mountains in the southwest, isn't it? Correct. We've come as messengers to the Lady Madeline, who eloped with the nomads some 19 years ago. Madeline? Our lord the Marquis of Kalen's only daughter. He was heartbroken his own daughter would abandon him so. Eventually the Marquis simply declared that he had no daughter. And then this year we received a letter from Lady Madeline. It said that she, her husband, and their daughter were living happily on the Sakai Plains. The Marquis was ecstatic to learn he had a granddaughter of 18 years. I remember the smile on his face when he announced that he'd suddenly become a grandfather. The granddaughter's name is Lindis. This was also the name of the Marquis's wife, who passed away at an early age. Lindis? That she could bear this name thawed the Marquis's heart. Now his only wish is to meet his daughter's family at least once. This is why we're here. We didn't know that Lady Madeline died a few days after sending her letter. We only learned this shortly after we arrived here in Bulgar. We also learned all was not lost. Her daughter yet lives. We heard that she was living alone on the plains. I knew it immediately. You are the Lady Lindis. Why would you think that? Your resemblance to your departed mother is remarkable. What? Did you know my mother? I'm sorry to say I never met her directly, but I saw her portraits in Castle Kalen. To the rest of my tribe, I was always Lynn. But when I was with my parents, when it was just the three of us, I was Lindis. It's all so strange. I was alone in the world, and now I have a grandfather. Lindis. I never thought I would hear that name again. Wait, that bandit, he called me Lindis too. What? How could he have... He was a henchman of Lord Lundgren, wasn't he? Lundgren? Who's that? He's the Marquis's younger brother. Everyone assumed the Lady Madeline was gone forever. This made Lord Lundgren heir to the Marquis's title. To be blunt, my lady, your existence is an obstacle to your granduncle's ambitions. But I've no interest in inheriting any title. Unfortunately, your granduncle is not the sort of man to believe that. I believe the attempts on your life will persist. What should I do? Accompany us to Kalen. Continuing on this way is dangerous. I feel I have little choice. I will go with you. Jim, I'm sorry. This changes everything. What will you do? You want me to decide? Of course, your companionship would do much to ease my journey, but it's going to be so dangerous. You'll come? Are you sure? Thank you. Let me ask once again for your friendship and your aid. Alright, that's been chapter 1. I wanted to say 2 again. Why do I keep skipping? I don't know. But that's it. Thanks for watching this first episode of Let's Play Fire Emblem 7. See you next time in chapter 2.